And this new speech by Obama just this morning announcing the new cybersecurity coordinator and this new department where they are literally going to regulate everything on the Internet, further try to pass this Cybersecurity Act, the Cyberbullying Act, and much, much more. How are you today, Bob?
I'm pretty good. And what the president is doing is ominous, and it's just an extension of what we got with the last administrations. And it's very, very frightening because it's obvious that they're after total control of the Internet and probably the airwaves as well.
You know, absolutely. In fact, they're trying to already say, I believe the FCC is saying, well, we can already go in warrantlessly if you have a rogue Wi-Fi connection. In other words, if your Wi-Fi signal isn't regulated in some way, they can already come into your home and check that out. And they were able to do that through some kind of passage of a cable act back in the 70s with cable boxes and people using the black boxes to get the free premium channels or whatever. It would emit a certain wavelength, and they would be able to go in warrantlessly. And they just keep expanding and expanding on their powers. Now, we already knew they were doing this behind closed doors because of cases like Hepting versus AT&T, where AT&T is openly just copying every single thing you do on the Internet, every single thing you do on your phone. We already know they're tracking what we're watching. I mean, it's admitted. How do you think they figured out that the most watched television moment in history was Janet Jackson's, bosom popping out over at the Super Bowl? So, this is just a long time coming. Now they're just announcing it. But as they announce it, Bob, Obama always pulls back and say, oh, we're not going to infringe on your civil liberties. Oh, we're not going to be spying on you. We're just creating a smart grid where all your medical information will be database and electronic, and we'll have a GPS of your home. And, oh, yeah, we're going to, figure out how much carbon you're using so we can start this new carbon credit system of ours. I mean, it's complete insanity.
With the carbon credits, they're trying to fast track that.
Mm-hmm. Pelosi right now was just over at China talking about how they need to help us in this climate change. And meanwhile, she's there. She can't help but make this quote. We have so much room for improvement, she said. Every aspect of our lives must be subjected to an inventory. Right there coming out and saying every aspect of everybody's lives must be inventoried. I mean, we are really turning into, this is fast-track stuff. With Sotomayor coming in, for instance, Bob, this woman looks like she's going to bring in the North American Union. She's a council member of La Raza. She's openly made racist statements, and she's openly a gun grabber. I mean, again, she wrote the book, Deadly Obsession, American Gun Culture, where she argues that the Second Amendment actually ensures that most citizens cannot have guns. It says only military. Let me read the quote. In this text, the student Sotomayor explained that the Second Amendment to the Constitution did not actually afford individual citizens the right to bear arms, but only duly confirmed organizations like the military. Instead of making guns illegal, she argues they have been illegal for individuals to own since the passing of the Bill of Rights. I mean, talk about a nightmare.
That's an aggressive challenge, and that's one of the things that are used in Psywar. This woman's been trained in Psywar. Either that or somebody else wrote the statement. Because,
well, she wrote a whole book on it. I mean, this is psychological warfare on the American populace and really the world populace. And the Orwellian doublespeak that is taking place just in the past few months has been incredible. We now have Army generals saying, oh, we may need to be in Iraq for another 10 years. Well, if anybody's been paying attention, of course they're going to say that. More with Bob Chapman on the other side. It's the Alex Jones Show. I'm Jason Burma sitting in. Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.tv. So much to talk about. I mean, they are really fast-tracking this quote-unquote smart grid. And the only one it's smart for is for the elites who are trying to enslave us. I mean, so much to go over just in the past week, Bob. I want to get your take on so many things. I mean, what did you think about this private meeting of Rockefeller and Oprah and Bill Gates, and I believe Ted Turner was there as well, and then they said, oh, we had to deal with some population issues. I mean, outside of the Bilderberg Group, I mean, it's getting pretty creepy.
Well, I think what they was telling some of these people is the dollar's going down, the economy's in serious trouble, and this thing's going to go upside down. Tomorrow's issue of the International Forecaster, my first paragraph reflects in that. I think something tremendous is coming down in the next 4 months, maybe 5. But and it's hard to do timing on this kind of thing because, you know, we're not on the inside. We're backing in the back door trying to find out what they're doing all the time. And so, you know, we just don't have access to the halls of power, so to speak. But there's something big coming. You know, I notice a number of police agencies getting 200 or 300 or 500 AR-15s. I got a piece out of the Boston Globe this morning. You know, this is Boston and the surrounding area is heavily populated. Unless there was a riot or a bank robbery or something like that, there's no need to have a penetrating weapon like that inside the city. And usually all cities today have SWAT teams. So there's no reason for these guys, 2,000 or 200 or whatever it is, to be running around the streets of Boston or any other city with AR-15s. It's as simple as that.
Well, I have to agree with you.
And it's syndrome.
Well, it's step by step. You know, they first do it in New York City subways to protect us from terror after 9/11. Now the terrorists are us, and they're saying, oh, look at these guys, these 4, you know, illiterate, literal retard criminals who couldn't even get guns, let alone make bombs or have any connections to any jihadist movement outside of the FBI agent who provocateured the whole thing. Oh, they were going to blow up synagogues, terrorism in America. Meanwhile, DHS is now going to be amalgamated into the NSA openly. It really already was part of the national security apparatus. But you have to know, all these extremist reports, all these terrorist reports, they are getting ready and building the infrastructure to target the dissenters in this country and throughout the world.
Well, it's one of the reasons that I moved out of the country. I can keep on functioning as long as the stations are up, but I can keep on publishing indefinitely.
Well, why don't you tell people about the website? Why don't you tell people about the website, Bob, and where they can get this information?
Well, the website is theinternationalforecaster.com, and I'll repeat that, theinternational, FORECASTER.com. And you can also go to get a free introductory copy to 877-479-8178. That's toll free, 877-479-8178. We have a hard copy twice a month. Twice a week we have an email copy, and we talk about business, finance, economic, social, political issues all over the world. And I think it's very, very important, particularly to get the copy of the one that's coming out tomorrow, because I explained to people where we're headed here. And believe me, unfortunately, I've been right about 98% of the time for 20 years and even more so for the last 10 years. And what's coming is going to be bad. And we're talking about it here in the program right now. This is what these people are preparing for. This is what this Rockefeller-Gates meeting was all about. As far as the visible members of the Illuminati, the Rockefeller family is right up there in the top, and at least in the United States. And when he has a meeting at 93 years old, you know it's important. He was over at the Bilderberger meeting, and that meeting took place right afterwards. So he was filling them in what went on over in Greece, is my assumption.
Yeah, that's probably what's going down.
Totally evil.
I'm with you, Bob. Why don't we talk about, the precious metals market? Because gold has shot up in the last couple of weeks. Silver's gone up. Basically, it seems like people are getting hip to the fact that this is a way to sustain your wealth and actually have money after this big collapse. I mean, how much more do you need to explain people that when I was listening to Alex Jones back in 2003, gold was going from somewhere between $275 and $330 an ounce, and now you can't get it for, less than $880 to $1,100 an ounce if you were to buy it on, eBay or just one piece. I mean, that's an amazing investment, and it's not really that gold has tripled in price. It's that the dollar has really fallen, by 60+%.
No, that's correct. And, it is very difficult to get coins, whether silver or gold, outside the United States. There's been a big increase in Europe in the purchases. They are available, but there are waiting times, and they're going to get even more difficult to get in the future. And I know that in Central and South America, Mexico, it's almost impossible to get coins. I mean, that is a true statement, believe me. And the Chinese have picked up on their buying. The Indians have dropped off, but they usually buy jewelry. That's their method